The colony of New Eden was humanity's pride. It sat on the green world of Proxima Centauri b, home to almost 8 million people. For many years, it grew under Governor Alan Blackwood's care. New Eden showed that humans could live beyond our solar system. No one saw the danger coming. The Vroltak ships appeared in orbit without any warning. Dark and massive, they moved with purpose. New Eden barely had time to send a call for help. Their message to Earth contained only broken bits of video showing huge black ships coming down through the clouds. Then bright flashes as the colonies, cities turned to dust. Lieutenant Commander Patricia Wells was watching routine messages at Luna Base when the broken signal came in. As the highest-ranking officer on the night shift, she made a big choice. She woke up Fleet Admiral Vincent Hayes right away. The video played in the dark meeting room as military leaders gathered. They watched in silence, faces pale in the glow of the screens. "They never even tried to talk to us," General Samantha Rivera said softly. She couldn't look away from the replay of New Eden's destruction. Earth's government called an emergency meeting within hours. President Gregory Nash spoke to billions of viewers with a serious face. "Today, we have met aliens for the first time," he said. "And they chose to attack us. We did not cause this. We did not ask for this war." His voice grew stronger. "But we will answer them." Word spread quickly across Earth and all human settlements. In homes and public spaces, people gathered around screens to watch the news. Many cried for the lost colony. Others felt fear. What if Earth was next? Some felt anger building inside them. In small towns across America, people lined up to join the military. The same happened in cities across Africa, Asia, Europe, and everywhere humans lived. Farm boys and college students, office workers and teachers, they all wanted to help. Joe Ramirez was fixing cars in his small shop in Arizona when he heard the news. He locked up that same day and drove to the nearest recruitment center. "My grandfather fought in wars on Earth," he told the recruiter. "Now I'll fight in the stars." Karen Wilson was teaching 3rd grade in Boston. She watched President Nash's speech with her students. That evening, she applied to the Fleet Support Division. "I can't just sit here and do nothing," she told her principal the next day. In orbit around Earth, Mars, and the moons of Jupiter, shipyards that once built cargo vessels and science ships now switched to making warships. Engineers worked day and night. Factory workers took double shifts. Everyone felt the pressure of time. No one knew if or when the aliens might return. Admiral Hayes set up his command center on Luna Base. Maps of known space covered the walls. He spent long hours studying the footage from New Eden, looking for any clue about the enemy's technology and tactics. "We know almost nothing about them," he told his officers. "But we know what they can do, and we know what we must do." President Nash visited the biggest shipyard in Earth orbit. Workers stopped to watch as he floated through the half-built frame of what would become the UES Retribution, the largest warship humans had ever built. "Every bolt you tighten, every wire you connect, every system you test, this is how we respond to New Eden," the president told them. "This is how we show the galaxy that humans will not go quietly." Dr. Olivia Ross had won awards for her work on faster-than-light travel. Now she turned her mind to weapons. In her lab beneath the Rocky Mountains, she tested new ideas day after day. When she finally found what she was looking for, she didn't celebrate. She just called Admiral Hayes. "I've found a way to hurt them," she said simply. On Mars, training camps spread across the Red Plains. General Catherine Moore watched as volunteers learned to use new weapons and equipment. Some had never left Earth before coming to Mars. Now, they prepared to travel much farther, to face an enemy no human had ever fought. "We don't know what they look like," General Moore told the recruits. "We don't know how they think. But we know what they did, and that's enough." In the asteroid belt, mining ships turned into fighting vessels. Colonel Frank Donovan watched as workers added gun mounts to ships that once carried only rock and ice. "They won't win beauty contests," he told his team. "But they'll fight, and there will be a lot of them." Numbers became humanity's plan. If the aliens had better technology, humans would counter with more ships than anyone had ever seen. One ship lost, At New Eden would be answered with thousands. At night, Admiral Hayes often stood alone looking at the stars. Somewhere out there, the enemy waited. Did they know what was coming? Did they care? Had New Eden been just the first step in a larger plan? He didn't know, but he knew his duty. 6 months after the attack, Hayes called a meeting of all fleet commanders. The room filled with men and women who would lead humanity's forces. Some had been admirals and generals before. Others had been civilians until recently, chosen for their skills and quick learning. The ships are almost ready, Hayes told them. The weapons are being installed. The troops are trained. Soon, we move. On a screen behind him, the plan appeared. First, they would gather near Neptune, forming the largest fleet in human history. From there, they would jump to the star system where the attack had come from. Intelligence teams had tracked the enemy ship's path back to a system called HD 85512. We don't seek to destroy their civilization, Hayes said, but we will ensure they never threaten ours again. As the meeting ended, Commander Eleanor Wright approached Hayes. She had been given command of the UES Dauntless, one of the new heavy cruisers. Sir, do you think they know we're coming? She asked. Hayes looked at her for a long moment. I hope so, he said finally. I hope they're afraid. I hope they understand what they started, because soon, very soon, they're going to understand how humanity finishes things. Across the solar system, the forges of war burned hot. In shipyards and factories, on training grounds and in command centers, the greatest effort in human history continued. 900,000 ships were being prepared. Millions of people made ready for war among the stars. They had destroyed one human colony. Now they would learn what that mistake would cost them. 1 year after the attack on New Eden, the solar system looked very different. Mining ships swarmed through the asteroid belt, breaking down rocks and sending the materials to the shipyards. The moons of Jupiter glowed with the lights of massive construction sites. Ships took shape under the watchful eye of Admiral William Carter. Dr. Olivia Ross worked in her lab day and night. 10 years ago, she had made faster-than-light travel better and faster. Now she had created something new, a weapon that could tear enemy ships apart. It bends space-time in small areas, she explained to the military leaders. Her hands moved as she spoke, drawing invisible shapes in the air. When it activates near an enemy ship, it pulls the ship in different directions, at once. Nothing can survive that kind of force. The military leaders looked at the test results. They saw videos of small test objects breaking apart. They nodded with grim faces. Begin production immediately, ordered Admiral Hayes. In the asteroid belt, Colonel Frank Donovan watched as his teams turned mining ships into war vessels. These ships weren't pretty. They had gun mounts welded to their sides. Their hulls were patched and rough, but they were strong, and there were thousands of them. How's it coming? Donovan asked a group of workers. Susan Miller wiped sweat from her face. 6 months ago, she had been a cook on a mining station. Now she helped build weapons. We finished 10 more ships today, she told him. We'll do 12 tomorrow. Donovan nodded. Every ship matters. On Mars, the training ground stretched across the Red Plains. General Catherine Moore walked among the recruits as they practiced with new weapons and spacesuits. Ben Foster had been a farmer in Nebraska. Now he learned how to fight in zero gravity. Next to him, Linda Patel, once a doctor in Mumbai, practiced emergency medicine in simulated battle conditions. We have no idea what we're facing, General Moore told them during a break. But humans have always adapted. We've lived through ice ages, diseases, and wars. We will survive this too. The biggest challenge was organizing everything. No one had ever built or controlled a fleet this large before. Admiral Hayes spent long hours creating a new command structure. The fleet would be divided into battle groups of different sizes. Each group would have different types of ships and different jobs. The smaller, faster ships will attack from the sides, he explained to his officers. The medium ships will protect them. The large ships will attack the main enemy forces. Atlas, the most advanced AI ever built, would help coordinate all the ships. It ran battle simulations day and night, learning from each one. President Nash continued to appear on screens across the system. His face looked more tired each time, but his voice stayed strong. Every ship we build, every weapon we create, every soldier we train, they all show our enemies one thing. Humanity will not fall. We will not allow another colony to be destroyed. People worked harder than they ever had before. Factories ran all day and night. Schools taught students about space combat and alien technology. Everyone did their part. In his small apartment near the Luna base, Admiral Hayes kept a piece of metal on his desk. It had come from New Eden, one of the few pieces ever found. Sometimes he touched it, reminding himself why they were doing all. This 6 months later, the fleet gathered near Neptune's orbit. 900,000 ships floated in the darkness. Some were huge, massive warships with powerful weapons. Others were small and fast. Many had once been cargo ships or mining vessels, now converted for war. Admiral Hayes stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution. It was the largest warship humans had ever built. Through the windows, he could see other ships stretching far into space. Display screens showed even more. "All ships report ready, sir," said Officer Lisa Montgomery. Her hands moved quickly over the control panels. "We have tracked the enemy back to a star system called HD 85512. Our long-range probes show a lot of activity there." Hayes nodded. "That's where we're going." Atlas, the fleet AI, spoke in a calm voice from the speakers. "I have run thousands of battle simulations. The enemy has better technology, but we have many more ships. We have a 72% chance of winning." Dr. Kyle Peterson stood nearby. As a xenobiologist, someone who studied alien life, he had a different concern. "We still know almost nothing about them," he said. "We don't know what they look like, how they think, or why they attacked us. We should try to talk to them first." Hayes thought about this. "We will send a message when we arrive, but we will be ready to fight immediately." Throughout the fleet, crew members prepared for what might be their final journey. They sent messages to family and friends. They recorded their thoughts and updated their wills. In the eating areas and sleeping quarters, people were quiet but determined. Commander Eleanor Wright spoke to her crew on the UES Dauntless. "What we do next will be remembered forever, not just in human history but in the history of the galaxy. Today we show what happens when someone attacks humanity." The fleet prepared to leave. Each ship checked its systems one last time. Weapons were armed, shields were tested. The new space-bending weapons Dr. Ross had created were installed on thousands of ships. Admiral Hayes gave the final order. "All ships, prepare for faster-than-light jump. Our destination is HD 85512. Our mission is clear: to ensure no further attacks against human settlements are possible." The fleet's engines glowed blue in the darkness. For a moment, they shined brighter than Neptune's reflection of the sun. Then, in perfect coordination, 900,000 ships disappeared into faster-than-light travel. The journey had begun. Humanity's answer to the destruction of New Eden was on its way. The enemy had destroyed one human colony. Now they would face humanity's full response. As the fleet traveled through faster-than-light space, Admiral Hayes stood alone in his quarters. He looked at a photo of his family on Earth. "We'll be home soon," he whispered. "One way or another." The human fleet appeared at the edge of the HD 85512 star system after 3 weeks of faster-than-light travel. 900,000 ships spread out in the formation they had practiced many times. The system had a yellow sun, not unlike Earth's, with several planets orbiting it. Admiral Hayes stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution. His uniform was clean and pressed. He had slept little during the journey. "Status report," he ordered. Officer Lisa Montgomery checked her screens. "Sensors detect a defensive line of alien ships near the 4th planet. They appear to be on high alert." Hayes nodded. "Send the communication package. Let's see if they want to talk." Dr. Kyle Peterson had worked with linguists and communication experts to create a message explaining why humans had come. It included images, simple math, and basic information about humans. It asked for peace but made clear that humans were ready for war. The fleet waited. Minutes passed slowly. The bridge crew watched their screens. No one spoke. 30 minutes with no response, reported Communications Officer Daniel Morgan. Wait, the alien ships are moving. They're forming attack patterns. Tactical Officer Henry Douglas looked up from his station. They're powering up weapons, sir. Many energy readings detected. Admiral Hayes stood straighter. All ships, prepare for battle. May God have mercy on us all because we will show none to them. The Vrulthak ships moved first. They fired energy weapons that cut through space. Several human ships disappeared in bright flashes. Return fire, ordered Hayes. All ships, attack pattern Omega. The human fleet moved like a giant machine. Smaller, faster ships darted forward. Larger ships provided covering fire. Dr. Ross's new weapons, the space-time disruptors, fired for the first time in real combat. The first wave of human ships took heavy losses. The alien technology was indeed advanced. Their weapons could destroy smaller ships with one hit. Their shields absorbed heavy damage. But Atlas, the fleet AI, was learning. It analyzed the battle in real time, adjusting tactics and sending new orders to the fleet. Their shields have a fluctuation pattern, Atlas reported. If we time our attacks to match this pattern, we can break through. Commander Eleanor Wright on the UES Dauntless saw an opportunity. Admiral, I see a weak point in their line. Request permission to lead an attack group. Hayes reviewed her plan quickly. Permission granted. Take Battle Group 7 and punch through that gap. The Dauntless led 50 ships in a tight formation. They accelerated toward the enemy line, dodging fire and returning it. Wright's hands were steady on the controls. Wait for my mark, she told her group. Now. All 50 ships fired their space-time disruptors at once. The weapons hit an alien command ship just as its shields fluctuated. Space itself seemed to bend around the alien vessel. Then it broke apart, pieces flying in all directions. A cheer went up across human communication channels. For the first time, they had destroyed one of the larger enemy ships. The battle continued for 3 days. Human ships took turns resting crews and repairing damage while others fought. The Vrulthak seemed tireless, but they were losing ships, faster than humans were. On the 3rd day, the massive alien flagship began to list to one side. Its engines flickered and went dark. Atmosphere vented from holes in its hull. We've wounded their command ship, reported Officer Douglas. The alien fleet is falling back toward the inner system. Admiral Hayes studied the tactical display. Human losses were heavy. Over 200,000 ships destroyed or disabled. But the alien fleet was in retreat, with only a few dozen of their largest ships still functioning. All ships advance toward the 4th planet, Hayes ordered. We've won the first battle, but the war isn't over. As the fleet moved inward, they discovered that the 4th planet was heavily defended. It wasn't a homeworld as they had expected, but a military outpost. Orbital platforms fired at the approaching human ships. Ground forces prepare for deployment, Hayes commanded. We need to capture their command centers intact if possible. We need information. Colonel Donna Martinez led the first wave of Marines. They landed near what seemed to be a main control facility. The aliens fought hard. They were tall beings with 4 arms and tough scaled skin. They used advanced weapons and moved with incredible speed. They're strong and fast, Martinez reported, as her team pushed forward. But we're adapting. We've captured 2 lower levels of the main facility. After 6 hours of fighting, Martinez's team reached the central command room. We've secured the command center, she reported. Bringing systems online now, transferring data to the fleet. Dr. Peterson and his team began analyzing the alien database immediately. What they found was both surprising and concerning. Admiral, this isn't their homeworld, Peterson reported. It's just one outpost of an empire that spans dozens of star systems, and we've found something else. Records indicating they detected our expansion years ago. They considered it a violation of territory they had claimed centuries before humans even left Earth. Hayes stared at the message for a long moment. A misunderstanding, he said quietly. 8 million people dead over a misunderstanding. He called a meeting of his senior officers. They gathered in the Retribution's conference room. The situation is more complex than we thought, Hayes told them. The Vrulthak Empire is larger than we estimated. This planet is just one of many military outposts. Their homeworld is several systems away. What are our orders, sir? Asked Commander Wright. Hayes looked at each face around the table. We secure this system first. We establish a permanent human presence here, and then we push further into their territory until they agree to peace terms. General Samantha Rivera nodded. What about the survivors on this planet? There must be thousands of their civilians and military personnel. We treat them according to our own standards, Hayes said firmly. We are not here for revenge or slaughter. We are here to ensure humanity's safety, remember that. As the meeting ended, Hayes walked to the observation deck. From there he could see the captured planet below and the remains of the space battle above. Human ships moved among the debris, rescuing survivors and salvaging materials. The first phase of humanity's response was complete. They had shown the Vrulthak that attacking a human colony had consequences. But the harder part was just beginning, finding a way to turn victory into lasting peace. New Eden, Hayes said to himself. We haven't forgotten you. 2 weeks after capturing the Vrulthak military outpost, humans had established a strong presence in the HD 85512 system. They repaired their damaged ships and built a base on the fourth planet. Dr. Peterson and his team spent day and night studying the alien database. Admiral Hayes received their report in his new office on the captured planet. The room had once belonged to a high-ranking Vrulthak commander. Now it served as the center of human operations. What have you learned? Hayes asked Peterson. The scientist looked tired but excited. The Vrulthak are an old species. They've been in space for over 2,000 years. They have an empire that includes 27 star systems. He showed Hayes a map. Colored dots represented Vrulthak-controlled planets. One dot glowed brighter than the others. That's their homeworld, Peterson said. It's called Vrul Prime in their language. It's about 3 star systems away from here. Hayes studied the map. What about their society? Why did they attack New Eden? Peterson sighed. They have a strict system where some Vrulthak are born into higher positions than others. Their religion teaches that unclaimed worlds are sacred territory. They watched humanity's expansion for years. They saw our colonies as a violation of their sacred space. A misunderstanding that cost 8 million lives, Hayes said quietly. Yes, Peterson agreed. They never tried to understand us. Their culture doesn't value talking with what they call lesser species, but we've shown them we can't be ignored. Hayes called a meeting of his senior officers. They gathered in a large room that humans had converted into a command center. Maps and screens covered the walls. We've secured the system, Hayes told them. Now we need to decide our next steps. The Vrulthak homeworld is within our reach. Their military is weakened. We could strike directly at their center of power. Commander Eleanor Wright spoke up. What about negotiation? Now that we've shown our strength, maybe they'll talk. Dr. Peterson's team has created a better communication package, Hayes said. We've sent it to all known Vrulthak systems. So far, there's been no response. General Samantha Rivera looked concerned. Our original orders were to ensure humanity's safety. How far do we need to go to achieve that? They debated for hours. Some officers wanted to push on to the Vrulthak homeworld immediately. Others suggested a more cautious approach. While they discussed strategy, Officer Daniel Morgan interrupted with urgent news. Sir, we're detecting new contacts at the edge of the system. They're not Vrulthak designs. The ships are different. The command center became very quiet. Hayes walked to the main display. Show me. The screen showed several sleek vessels approaching slowly. Their energy signatures were unlike anything humans or Vrulthak used. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, Morgan reported. The universal translator is processing. Sir, they're identifying themselves as the Galactic Concord. They're requesting to talk. Hayes straightened his uniform. Open a channel. The screen changed to show an alien unlike the Vrulthak. This being had smooth blue skin and large eyes. It wore what looked like a formal uniform. Greetings, humans, the alien said through the translator. I am Ambassador Zala of the Galactic Concord. We've been observing your conflict with the Vrolthak. We wish to discuss the situation. Hayes introduced himself. We welcome dialogue. Our experience with first contact has been difficult. Ambassador Zala nodded. We understand. The Vrolthak are known aggressors. The Concord has contained them for centuries. Your expansion accidentally crossed into a buffer zone, but the Vrolthak's attack on your colony violated our protocols. Hayes felt a mix of relief and frustration. You knew about them? About their aggression? Yes, Zala admitted. The Concord includes 32 spacefaring civilizations. We maintain peace across 200 star systems. The Vrolthak have been a problem for a long time, but they've never faced a response like yours. 2 days later, Hayes met with Zala and other Concord representatives on a neutral ship in orbit. Dr. Peterson joined him as an advisor. No species has ever mounted such a response to Vrolthak aggression, Zala explained. 900,000 ships. It's unprecedented. Your demonstration of force has changed everything. Hayes spoke carefully. We came seeking justice and safety, not conquest. But we will not retreat from the stars. The Concord offered humanity membership and protection. In return, they asked for limits on military expansion and adherence to established space laws. What about the Vrolthak? Hayes asked. What about justice for New Eden? Zala assured him that the Concord would force the Vrolthak to pay for what they had done. Your fleet remains a powerful tool in these negotiations. The Vrolthak fear you now. Hayes returned to the human base to consider the offer. He called President Nash via a secure channel. The President and Earth's Security Council listened to Hayes's report. This changes our situation, President Nash said. We sought security through strength. Now we have a chance for security through alliance. After days of discussion, they made their decision. Humanity would join the Galactic Concord. The human fleet would remain strong, but would operate under Concord guidelines. The Vrolthak would pay reparations for New Eden. President Nash traveled to HD 85512 to make the announcement. The captured alien outpost, now renamed New Horizon, hosted the historic event. Leaders from Earth and the colonies joined him, along with representatives from the Concord. Today marks our true entrance onto the galactic stage, Nash told the gathered crowd and the billions watching via transmission. We have shown that humanity cannot be attacked without consequences. We have proven our resolve. Now we must show wisdom equal to our strength. Negotiations with the Vrolthak began the following week. With pressure from both humanity and the Concord, they agreed to peace terms. The threat of Earth's still massive fleet remained a powerful tool in these talks. Admiral Hayes found himself in a new role. Part military commander, part diplomat. It wasn't a role he had trained for, but he adapted, just as humanity always did. One evening, he stood with Dr. Peterson on an observation deck watching the distant light of Earth's sun. 8 million lives, Hayes said softly. Was our response right? 900,000 ships, millions of crew. History will judge us. Peterson thought about this. Perhaps, but history will also record that after winning, humanity chose peace over revenge. That may be the most important part of this story. Hayes nodded slowly. The war wasn't fully over. The negotiations would continue. But humanity had found its place among the stars. And the galaxy had learned an important lesson about the consequences of threatening Earth and its colonies. 1 year after the battle at HD 85512, much had changed. Humanity had taken its place in the Galactic Concord. Human ships traveled between star systems, meeting new alien species and learning about the wider galaxy. Earth sent ambassadors to 20 different worlds. The first alien visitors came to Earth, causing excitement and wonder. The Vrolthak kept their promise to pay for what they had done. They sent resources and technology to help rebuild human colonies. They opened their borders to human scientists and diplomats. It wasn't friendship, but it was peace. Admiral Vincent Hayes stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution. The massive ship now served as both a warship and a diplomatic vessel. Today it orbited a special place, the ruins of New Eden. All ships report ready for the ceremony, sir, said Officer Lisa Montgomery. Hayes nodded. Begin when ready. Below, on the surface of what had once been humanity's proudest colony, thousands of people gathered. Some were family members of those who had died. Others were officials from Earth and the colonies. Representatives from the Galactic Concord attended as well, including several Vrolthak who had come to show respect. President Gregory Nash spoke to the crowd and to the billions watching across human space. His hair had more gray now and lines had deepened on his face. The past year had aged him. Today we dedicate this memorial to the 8 million souls lost when New Eden fell, he said. They were pioneers, dreamers, builders. They represented the best of humanity. We will never forget them. A large monument stood nearby. It was simple but beautiful, a tower of earthstone reaching toward the sky. Words carved on its base could be seen from orbit. They were the first to fall. They will be the last. After the ceremony, Hayes met with Commander Eleanor Wright. She now captained her own ship, the UES Discovery. Her uniform showed the new patch of the Concord fleet, a symbol showing that human ships now worked with alien vessels to keep peace across many systems. How does it feel to be back here? Wright asked quietly. Hayes looked out at the landscape of New Eden. Green plants had begun to grow again among the ruins. Nature was reclaiming what had been destroyed. Necessary, he said. We need to remember why we fought, why we continue to maintain our fleet. The human fleet had changed over the past year. Some ships had been converted back to their original purposes, carrying cargo or mining resources. Others remained as warships, now part of the Concord's defense forces. But humans kept a large independent fleet as well. The Vrolthak attack had taught a lesson no one would forget. Dr. Olivia Ross had opened a new research center on Mars. She no longer worked on weapons. Instead, she focused on better engines and shields. Her team included scientists from 3 different alien species. We learn more every day, she told visitors. The Concord has technologies we never imagined, and they're interested in our ideas, too. Together, we'll go further than any of us could alone. Colonel Donna Martinez now trained both human and alien soldiers at a joint facility on Europa, Jupiter's moon. Her experience fighting the Vrolthak had made her valuable to the Concord. Different species have different strengths, she explained to her mixed class of recruits. Humans adapt quickly. Loraxians can see in darkness. Vrolthak have natural armor. Learn from each other and you'll be stronger together. Dr. Kyle Peterson had become humanity's leading expert on alien cultures. He traveled between worlds, learning languages and customs. His work helped prevent misunderstandings like the one that had led to war. The attack on New Eden happened because 2 species failed to communicate, he often said. We must not make that mistake again. Back on the Retribution, Admiral Hayes received a message from Ambassador Zella of the Galactic Concord. The Vrolthak High Council has agreed to the final treaty terms, Zella reported. They will restrict their military activities for the next 50 years. They've accepted the new borders. Peace is secure. Hayes thanked her for the news. After ending the call, he walked to his private quarters. On his desk sat the same piece of metal he had kept since the beginning, a fragment from New Eden. Next to it now stood a small plant in a pot. It had grown from a seed found in the ruins. A knock at his door interrupted his thoughts. President Nash entered, looking tired after the memorial ceremony. Vincent, I wanted to thank you personally, Nash said. Your leadership made this possible. 900,000 ships, the largest fleet ever assembled. And you used that power wisely. Hayes gestured for the president to sit. I followed my orders, sir, to ensure humanity's security. Nash nodded. And now? What do you think of our place in this galactic Concord? It's where we belong, Hayes said after a moment. We're stronger with allies, but we must remain vigilant. The galaxy has more dangers than just the Vrolthak. That's why I'm here, Nash said. The Security Council has approved a new initiative. We want you to lead it. He explained that humanity would build special explorer ships, vessels designed to push beyond known space. They would carry scientists and diplomats, but also be well armed. "We'll seek friendship first," Nash said, "but we'll be prepared for anything. The ships will represent Earth and the conquered. We're calling it the Pathfinder program." Hayes looked out his window at the stars. "Exploration rather than war," he said quietly. "I'd be honored." 3 months later, Hayes stood on the bridge of a new ship, the UES Pathfinder. It was smaller than the Retribution but faster, and equipped with the best technology from both human and alien engineers. His crew included humans and members of 4 alien species, including one young Vrulthak officer who had opposed the war. Together, they would map unknown regions and contact new civilizations. As the Pathfinder prepared to depart from Earth orbit, Hayes gave his first order as its captain. "Set course for the Galactic Rim," he said. "Let's see what's out there." Ship's engines glowed blue, then white. With a flash, it disappeared into faster-than-light travel, carrying humanity's representatives deeper into the galaxy. On New Eden, the memorial stood tall against the sky. At night, lights around its base illuminated the words carved there. A promise to those who had died, and a warning to any who might threaten humanity again. They were the first to fall. They will be the last.